everyone, good evening. Today we will be presenting our newly found species named Iguana gallus by Desiree Gonzalez, Mirna Bautista, and Daisy Del Cid. The following video coming up shows the discovery of the newly found species.
Look at the water, Myrna. Big fish in there. Beautiful. Clear water. Nice and fresh. Let's go back to the camping site before it's late. Let's go. Today was an awesome day. Awesome. Good exercise for us today. Yes. And we had so much fun. Oh my gosh. Look, what is it? What is that? Gosh. What did you find?
I see that. Looks like a rooster head on an iguana body. Oh my gosh.
It's something different in Belize. We have to take it to the lab to investigate.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's go.
Let's go. You help me.
Let's take it.
Oh,
Let's go.
it's moving. Grab its tail. Grab its tail. Ooh.
It's heavy.
Oh my gosh. Mine
It's
is
heavy,
like
Myrna.
grab the mouth.
The
Good.
mouth. Okay, I'll grab the
my
mouth.
gosh.
You grab the tail.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Our newly discovered iguana species is a mixture of rooster and iguana. As you can see, it has the body of an iguana, the hands, the tail, and the head of a rooster. It has the crown of a rooster, and it also has the beak of a rooster and the eyes of a rooster. This was something that we came across while hiking in the mountain pine ridge, and we decided that we were going to name it Iguana gallus because of the appearance it had to a rooster. This is something that has never been discovered before in Belize, which makes it very unique. And we do believe that eventually there will be more of these species out there. It just needs the proper classification. So to the lab for scientific classification.
We are here at the Belize Veterinary Lab, and we are here with Dr. Raju. She will be explaining to us more about our new discovery, our new species.
Yeah, so the organism that you guys brought falls under the Animalia kingdom, and the phylum is Chordata, the class Reptilia, the orders Gomata, family Iguanidae, and the genus Iguana. So you guys choose what species you are gonna, what name you will give for your species.
Thank you for that information, Dr. Raju. And we will definitely be here again finding out more about our new species.
Rooster iguanas habitat description. These organisms are mainly found in tropical rainforests, which means that there are seasons of heavy rains, but also great increase of heat, like for example, the mountain pine ridge in Belize. Their long, spiky nails help them to spend a lot of time in the trees. They also prefer areas that are close by to water because they tend to be seen diving straight from a tree into a stream. And just like the green iguanas, they like to lay back and enjoy the sun.
For proper classification of the Iguana gallus, it was taken to a lab where the systems were inspected and observed. The following are the Iguana gallus systems. The digestive system. As you all know, digestion starts in the mouth. It is the same thing for the Iguana gallus. The iguana has a small amount of clear mucous saliva that lacks digestive enzymes. The iguana saliva is used to lubricate the food and help it pass through the rest of the digestive tract. The teeth are like razor-sharp teeth of a piranha fish. And it is a trip to the hospital for stitches if you were ever bitten by an adult iguana gallus, which I know that no one would ever want to feel that. It is very hurtful and a lot of pain. They have dozens of small, thin, sharp teeth that line the inside of the jaw. Barely visible, but they are there. Believe me. The iguana do not chew its food. Its teeth are designed specifically to shear off vegetation. The iguana tongue is thick, muscular, and slightly forked. When the tongue touches your skin, you will feel that it is not wet like ours, but very sticky because they do not produce much saliva. They use the tongue to help them push the food way down, far down the throat, and then so that they can swallow after that. The jacosum's organ is located in the roof of the mouth and are used to pick up faint scents when the iguana flicks the tongue on objects or in the ear. It is a very sensitive organ that gives the iguana sensory information about their surroundings, including the difference between a male and a female iguana. The pharynx, the pharynx is a tube that connects the mouth to the esophagus. The esophagus are connected to the stomach and are used to hold quite a bit of food temporarily. It can stretch and contract to help push food toward the stomach and also secretes mucus to lubricate food for easier movement. The stomach produces gastric juices, which is a mixture of stomach acid and enzymes that breaks down food into water-soluble molecules that can be absorbed and used by the body's cell. The small intestine is where water and various minerals, including calcium, are absorbed by the iguana's body. Partially digested food goes to the small intestine where two ducts open, releasing pancreatic juice from the pancreas and bile produced by the liver that contains enzymes that continue to break down the food. The pancreas produces enzymes to break down food. It also produces insulin and glucagon. The liver produces bile, which breaks down fats into the small intestine. It also removes carbohydrates, proteins, and fats from the bloodstream and either break them down or store them. The stretching sac stores the bile that is produced by the liver and it is needed. This is called the gallbladder. The gallbladder is triggered to excrete bile when there is food in the first segment in the small intestine. The iguana has a hindgut that are not found in any other living lizard, which makes it very unique, especially the iguana gallus. The large intestine. After the food has been fermented in the hindgut, it travels to the large intestine, which includes the colon and the rectum. This is the first and the last section of the digestive tract where nutrition is absorbed. All solids remaining in the large intestine are formed into feces and excreted. The iguana's urine is almost entirely uric acid, with only 5% urea. This accounts for the white semi-solid portion of the excrement. The urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the iguana's bladder, and water can be reabsorbed before expelling it out of the body. The cloaca. Feces and urine empties into this cavity, which is at the end of the digestive tract. It has three chambers. The first stores feces, the second stores urine, and the third has a completely different function for males and females. The males' hemiphenes start to turn outward into the chamber before they are pushed out through the vent for copulation. During copulation, the female receives sperm in this chamber. Gallus nervous system. The gallus brain is dominated by the brainstem and the cerebellum, which controls instinctive survival behavior. The gallus brain contains the same basic parts as the amphibian brain and are about the same size relative to the size of the organism. However, the gallus cerebrum and cerebellum are slightly larger than the amphibian cerebrum and cerebellum. Sense organs such as the eyes and nose are well developed. They have a good sense of smell and they are short-sighted. The eyes are best at focusing on nearby small objects. Their sense of smell makes up for their poor eyesight.
So now we'll be talking about the reproductive system of the new organism, the rooster iguana. So these organisms tend to breed during summer and moist weather because of the warmth and the heat. Before actually looking into the functions and the parts that make up the reproductive system, how does reproduction actually start with these organisms? So what usually tends to happen is that the male deposits his sperm into a female opening known as the cloaca. The organs that make up the reproductive system of the female, and we're firstly going to be talking about the infidilium, which is the interior region of the oviduct. The main function of this organ is actually to just act as a pathway to receive sperms and to release the eggs when it's time. We can see this organ right here, right above the rectum. So looking at the two structures, the uterine tube and the isthmus, these two actually have similar functions. They both act as a pathway to transport the sperms to the eggs and then eventually to the uterus. You can actually see the structures right here. So now looking at the uterus has two very important cells, the cellated and the non-cellated cells. These cells are very important because they secrete components that help in the formation and the hardening of the shell. So now looking at the vagina is a thick muscular region. The main function of the vagina is to act as a pathway to release the egg when it's time. Now the cloaca, as I mentioned at the beginning, the cloaca is an opening for the female that receives when the male deposits the sperm. So we can see the uterus right here, and right below is the vagina, and lastly the cloaca. Now looking into the male reproductive system. So the male reproductive system is only composed of two structures, the testicle and the hemipenis. So the testicle is where the sperm is stored, and it is either a single penis or a hemipenis. So the hemipenis is actually stored in the cloaca inverted, and is an erectile tissue which is similar to the human penis, and it only seeks out when it's reproduction. In this image, you can see the rooster iguanas, which is actually a hemipenis, which is two penis.
I am Marina Bautista, and I will be presenting on the circulatory system of our newly discovered species at the mountain pine ridge, the Iguana gallus. We have discovered that this organism possesses a closed circulatory system very similar to that of the green iguana. Their heart is three-chambered, consisting of the right atrium, the left atrium, and a partially divided ventricle. The main function of their circulatory system is to transport blood, respiratory gases, nutrients, and sometimes waste. As you can see here in this picture, this is the right atrium, the left atrium, and the partially divided ventricle. They have a very unique circulatory system. This picture shows more detailed explanation of how their circulatory system works. The oxygenated blood is brought into the heart, transported out to the lungs to be restored with oxygen, then brought back into the heart and distributed out to the body. Our newly discovered organism is also considered to be an ectoderm. Ectoderms control their body temperature by changing their behavior throughout the day, which means that if their body temperature is too high, they will seek cool areas to reduce their body temperature, and if your body temperature is too low, then they will seek direct sunlight to increase their body temperature. Iguana gallus may require temperatures of 29 to 32 degrees Celsius, 84 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit for maximum efficiency. This species also contains a dewlap. A dewlap is an extra piece of skin hanging from their neck. When their body temperature is too high, they will extend their dewlap and release some of the heat. And when their body temperature is too low, they will heat direct sunlight trapped by the julep and increase their body temperature. They are very unique organisms. The excretory system of our newly discovered species, the Iguana gallus, they have two small kidneys. The main waste product is usually uric acid. This new species use the colon to aid in the reabsorption of water because they lack a specialized structure called the loop of Henle. They also produce urine. Urine is produced by the kidneys, which flows down a ureter-like mesonephric duct to the uroderm of the cloaca, where it is then passed into the gallbladder for storage prior to evacuation.